Hello. It is Geek Speak, and today we are talking about all things Facebook groups. So if you don't know me, I'm Pip. I run Seymour Digital Media. We focus on search engine optimization and pay-per-click advertising. And this is Greg.
Hey everyone, I am Greg and I run Original 72 Creative. We are a full service website, graphic design, and digital marketing firm in Vancouver.
Right, and together we come on here on Thursdays and talk about something awesome. We have Lynn here and Laura. Hey guys, glad you could join. Um, as I said, today we are talking about Facebook groups. So chime in if you have any experiences or you have tips and tricks on how to use Facebook groups to your advantage. Um, so Greg,
Yes,
we're talking
yes,
about Facebook groups today.
we are.
Yeah. And why are we talking about Facebook groups?
Groups in general.
Yeah. I guess we should groups
'Cause
in general,
LinkedIn has a lot of good groups, so you could be in as well.
right? Daria's here too. Hey there. Oh, and Marie's here. Hi. Glad you guys are joining. So don't forget to chime in if you have any comments or opinions or strategies, because we want to know about them because we're all in this together, right? Right, Greg? Right?
We are.
Oh, and Mark here. Yay. Okay, so there are groups. There are groups. Greg, do you use LinkedIn groups?
I am in a couple of LinkedIn groups. I don't use them as much as my Facebook groups I'm in, but periodically I will go to LinkedIn and check out what's going on in some of those groups. It's a good spot to get referrals, and if you can catch them as they're within half a day or a day of them being posted, it's an opportunity to get your name in there if someone's looking for some type of work that you can provide.
Mm. Interesting. I don't actually use LinkedIn groups. Any of you guys use LinkedIn groups? Let us know. We want to know which groups are you in. I am in a bunch of them, but kind of find them a little spammy. Just my opinion. Maybe that I'm not in LinkedIn as much as I am on Facebook.
Mm.
Oh, there's that. But oh, Mona's giving us some love. Hi, Mona. Hi, Dave. Hey, Paul. Paul, I called you Mark for some reason. I've been calling you Mark. It's a funny thing. So, okay, so I want to know who is in LinkedIn groups. Mona's saying 20-ish. Interesting. Do you spend time in there? That's what I want to know. Um, she's saying, hey, gang.
And whether they're personal or for business, like are you looking for work or are you looking for help?
Yeah, interesting, right?
Because there's two ways that I use groups, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, which are the majority of groups that I participate in, is either I'm in a group to participate and help others, such as Geek Speak or Cyberpunk Geeks, and there's other groups that I join where I'm looking for help on. So I do WordPress website development, and I use a framework called StudioPress, which is a very common framework for building themes on WordPress. And I do a lot of WooCommerce, and I'm all in all of these advanced groups so that I can go in if I'm having an issue with something, ask a question and get help from other people like myself who are building sites and things.
Okay, yeah. So I don't use LinkedIn groups very often, but I do use Facebook groups. And did you know? Here's a tip of the week. Um, you can be in up to 600 groups in Facebook. Facebook. Oh, guys, okay, check this out. I'm gonna do something funny. Greg does not like this, but I know. Mona's saying she uses groups for personal and business. Um, I'm in a couple groups for AdWords, mainly for AdWords, where I go. But I'm also in this wicked group called Girl Gang. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's where women in kind of tech help each other, whether it is about promoting jobs or getting work as a freelancer. So freelancer groups are pretty amazing. Um, but yeah, and that in this group, I'm in this group all the time, right? Right. So, um, but when you use groups, Greg, like, how many are you active in?
Um, Probably two or three personally,
Okay.
and probably about the same professionally.
Okay. And do you,
That I'm going to almost every day.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Uh, David, you're in about 200 groups now. How many groups are you visiting daily? That's what we want to know. And anyone else, chime in. Out of all the groups you're in, how many groups do you visit daily? For me, I only visit maybe two groups, and that would be the Girl Gang group and this group. Um, and I love them. They're really helpful. And the AdWords, I'll ask questions in there, but um, there's so many people in the AdWords group, like thousands of people, that if somebody ever asks a question like, "Oh, I need AdWords help," there's like 50 billion people jumping in on there. And I actually got one lead from there, and I swear the guy copied my proposal and just used it to sell.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because, well, we track our proposal and the time it's open, and it was open for like 18 hours, unless he forgot about it. But, and yeah,
I would say I'm not seeing comments at the moment, so I don't see what people are saying. But David said he's in 200 groups.
yeah,
Did he?
yeah. Well, I'm in
I,
200 groups.
I'm wondering if he's in 200 groups and a lot of them are for the same thing.
Mm.
Because 200 is a lot. Like I would say it would be hard to really have any type of effective, um, you know, and basically get anything out of all of these groups by being in so many groups.
Well,
And like, what's the point of being in all of them?
so
Um,
here's the
I would focus on one or two and like drop the rest. Like it's all just clutter to me.
he says he's in 8 daily group. Oh, not in 200, just a handful. Oh, sorry, I think you might have said 20.
Yeah.
I'm in 200 groups. Now, I would say that different groups do different things. So, I'm in one group called Malahat Road Conditions. And, I check that group when I'm driving over the Malahat because I want to know. I don't know why I want to know because I'm going anyway, and I'll end up sitting in traffic if there's traffic issues. But there's one group.
Wouldn't Google Maps tell you that same information? You need a group for it?
Probably, yeah, but you want to know what's the holdup. Is it just traffic or is it an accident, right? Because that'll make a difference, right? So that I mean, and I'm in some recipe groups. I'm not gonna check in every day. Soap making groups. Maybe I should get out of some of my groups. We discovered, you and I, that it is harder to get out of your groups than, because it seems like you have to go individually and then get out of the group, right? So,
Yeah, I mean wherever your groups are listed, it's not really difficult to. Well, I'm using the new Facebook beta, right? So maybe they've made it a lot easier, but you have your groups listed on the side, and you can quickly go to it, or even just click the three dots right there and leave the group.
yeah, see, there are ways you can go into your own personal settings, um, and then you can get like blocks of all your groups, and that's a good way to leave groups if you want to do a culling, so to speak, right? Um, but we're getting off track, Greg. We are getting off track, and let me just say, Mona has said she's in about 8 daily. Mona, what kind of groups are you in? That I want to know. Um, yeah, as I said, so I why we use groups. Greg, you were saying that you use to either get help or give help, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever just go to be social? Or?
Um, no, not really.
Hmm. We do use Facebook a little differently. So yeah, the group. So like I find that groups, if you work alone and from home, a group is a great place to make new friends, like literally make new friends. So I've made some great friends online that I would have never met had I not been in groups, right? Because, for instance, so something I do, which is really neat, is in the girl gang group I'm part of. And maybe this is a bit brash of me, but the girl gang group I'm in, if I get tagged or there's a post related to SEO or pay per click advertising, and somebody's looking for someone, I'll see it. And because I know that if I message them, they won't get the message unless they know to look in a weird place if we're not friends. So you'll
Mhm.
them and then send the message, and that way they see the message. So I think that's why I've made some friends. But so I use groups for business development. Just so I think there are certain groups. We have a group. Oh, maybe I perused 3 or 4 groups. So we have a group here called Victoria Freelance, and people will put. It's not very active, but people will post. Need this, looking for that, and like people will chime in, right? Ooh, Mona says she's in author groups. That's cool. Craft groups, marketing. Yeah, I'm in a couple craft groups and some marketing groups. No website groups though. No. So, Greg, what else you want to talk about with groups? There's so many. I should look at my list of points.
Well, basically just general use, how you can use it to be uh, as effective as you can for what you are trying to use it for. Like if you are a business and you're trying to get in front of more people, you know, you can join some groups and there would be the possibility to gain some work from being in that group if you're active and posting things. So just a general how to use groups so that you can be more effective in generating more leads, or how you can be more helpful in the groups that you are in to provide help.
mm,
And even if you're providing help in groups, it's still a way of, becoming or showing that you're an expert in your field, much like, Cyberpunk Geeks is for us and some of the other moderators. We're running this on our own time and trying to give people information and showing that this is what we do and this is what we're experts at. So
yeah, the group was started, I believe, because just to try something, but it's become a great resource for friends and learning, and you know groups are just better than pages. David's asking a different kind of question, but we should answer it, Greg, and you and I should both answer this. It says, has anyone ever used a free SSL cert? What's your answer?
my answer is yes.
Yes, me too. But we were paying for them, but now we know how to get them for free. So,
So what I would say to free SSL certs is, I mean, you the whole point of an SSL certificate is that typically you have a process where you're vetted and you know about the company, what the company is, who they are, and then an SSL certificate is issued for that domain or for that business and is trusted.
mm,
It's less so with a free SSL, um, although it works for the SEO purposes. Like you are under an SSL, like Google will be, okay, you're serving your site under an SSL. As far as the trust factor, because there's a lot of free SSLs out there, that trust factor may be a little bit questionable because you can go to so many hosts and they have an SSL included,
yeah.
and it just gets issued and anybody can just do that, right? So it would be more beneficial to buy the a better SSL than just getting the free one, but there is really nothing wrong with the free one. It's just I mean, it works. It's set up. But if you're running a business online and you're doing online sales, it'd probably be best to pay for, you know, not go with the free one, pay for one that's a little bit better,
It,
where you do actually go through that process.
Mona and Paul have said a couple things in there. Lorna has said, sorry she's late. Yeah, Lorna, why are you late? And Paul has answered David's question. So, but we are not talking about SSLs. Not that we don't like to switch topics. We're talking about Facebook groups, guys, or groups in general. Greg, what do you think makes a good group? What do you guys think makes a good group? I want to know favorite groups, and Paul is saying you're bang on, Greg. Just if you can't see the comments, right? So maybe we'll give guys. We're gonna give Greg a clap. Okay, last one. Last one. Yeah.
So cheesy.
So Ecamm Live has provided some sound effects. If you didn't know, so just I seem to go off with that. But Greg, what makes a good Facebook group? I mean, yeah.
I think you know, a good group will have activity, and people sharing ideas and sharing information back and forth. I don't like to be in groups that like there's just nothing going on. Why, if there's nothing going on, why are you there? So I tend to look for groups that are more active, and you know, you doesn't isn't full of just looky loos.
Yeah. So somebody is saying that they had to reset their Facebook group. I'm not seeing who that is. Paul is saying groups are good for referrals. Yeah, that's true. That's a good group. Now, it's those referral groups are really challenging, I find, because yeah, I mean, it depends on the group. The groups that I'm in that are kind of a referral group are really particular, and ends up they get so big that there's so many people that respond, right? Um, yeah.
Yeah, and what are the qualities of those leads in specific referral groups? I'm not in any
Mm,
specific referral groups. I am in, you know, Cyberpunk Geeks, and I'm in the developers group for my framework, and often people there join because they're looking for theme developers and things like that. But it's all more organic. It's not a group dedicated to, you know, referring business. Do those really work? Does the client that you get out of that, is it a quality client?
so the group I'm in, yeah, there you meet some amazing people and make some great connections. I think it's over time. So I think, and if you're just in the group to get business, I think it feels kind of shady. Like if you're in there just to help people out, make connections, kind of like in this group, right? We do a lot of the posting in this group, and sometimes people ask questions. So I like that, but we have theme days for that purpose, because if we didn't have themed days, you guys would just see pictures of me all the time being like, yeah, right? Like, hey, Deborah's joined us. Here's something really interested that Lorna's brought up, which we weren't going to talk about, but I think it's really important. Paid groups. So there are some groups out there where if you join a course, then you get access to the group, right? They're private groups. So I think that's pretty interesting, and seems to be a way people are doing business now, to create smaller, more focused groups, because who wants to be in a group where you're constantly being sold to? Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of which, I'm in some sales groups, which I like. I joined a one of the groups I was in closed down, and because people close their groups, and they asked people to put a list of the groups that they were in that were great, and so I joined a bunch of those groups, and it's kind of cool. I joined a Facebook live group, so we're a live video group, where the only way to interact is do live videos. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm.
Right?
Well, what are your thoughts on joining groups as your business page or always doing it as your personal profile?
We don't let businesses in this group, business pages, because, well, for me, and I don't know, you
We
guys,
don't, but just in general, how do you feel? Like,
I
do
don't
you
know.
have any other groups that you want to join as your business page instead of as yourself? Or how do you, how would you, how would you use it as your business versus personal? Do you feel it's different?
That's a good question. Yeah. So I personally want to know the people I'm dealing with. Um, for instance, here's a good example. If somebody doesn't have a profile picture, I don't really want to deal with them because I don't know. Because I understand life is personal, and sometimes we don't want to share on social media. But that being said, I want to deal with a person. So group business page versus person. I kind of want to interact with the person, not the business. Now, that being said, maybe I'm just not used to it. How do you guys feel? Um, I want to know, like, what do you think, Greg? Do you like dealing with?
I I love uh, like being on Facebook and being in groups and things. My problem is not that I am using my personal profile or my business page, but it's more the fact that if I'm in certain groups or if I'm providing help, like we do in Geek Speak or in Cyberpunk Geeks, um, you get friend requests to
Yeah.
your personal account, and it's my personal account, but I need to be in the groups as a personal account holder, but I don't necessarily want all these friend requests from people in the group. I'm there to as a business, me as a business person providing my expertise. While you become friends with people, you I try to keep them separate.
Yeah.
Nothing against anybody that I've formed relationships with in our group or any other groups. I just I try to keep my personal Facebook separate because I am on Facebook personally with actual friends and old friends from high school back from home and things like that, and I post personal stuff, and that's personal, but I have to be in groups as that personal profile,
Interesting.
which I find annoying. I wish Facebook had some type of a way that you could be in groups and possibly have connections that are work connections
Mm.
as opposed to friends on Facebook. You're like there's a different level to me for me that there should be on Facebook.
Interesting, because we use Facebook differently, definitely. Because so I'm the other realm where I've made friends on Facebook and I accept friend requests and things like that, and so it's kind of different, and it's a different way to be. And this is where I think a lot of people struggle. Ryan has joined us. Hey, Ryan and Deborah. Hi. Um, yeah, it's that's a really good point. So Greg, can you join other groups? Would you join other groups as your business page over your personal page?
I believe I would.
Okay, do you?
I
It's not
did not because joining as your business page is relatively new, and most of the groups I'm in, I've been in for, probably 3 or more years.
interesting, right? So, um, yeah, Karen's here. Oh, hey, Karen. Sorry, there's so
So I'll put it to you this way. I would want to be added to a group as my business page if it's the type of group I'm going to hopefully get leads. If it's a group like one of the developer groups I'm in, Advanced WordPress or Advanced WooCommerce or Studio Press groups, I don't mind being in there as myself because I'm just looking for help from those groups, not work. Um, so that's the difference for me.
interesting. Um, yeah, I guess it would depend on the group, right? Because you'd want to be in some groups personally and then professionally. Yeah. I mean, and you do have the option for a lot of groups to join with your business. So, yeah, it's such an interesting question. And this is where that whole divide between Facebook for personal or business. I know a lot of us in here make business connections, right? Um, and a lot of people use Facebook for business. That's why there's ads everywhere. Um, we have never advertised this group. Some people do advertise their groups to bring people in. Other thing I want to mention before we have to go, which is interesting. Oh, Karen's agreeing with you, Greg. Karen, don't agree with him much because it goes to his head. I mean, really. And I like your emoji, buddy. Um, is that what it's called? Your cartoon? I don't even know what that's called, but it's cool. Um, I like smaller groups, and I will not lie. Um, Yes. I do. So I don't like groups with 20,000 people or 10,000 people. I like, groups around 1,000, maybe 2,000 people seem to be active, and yet there's a personalization that goes with it where you can begin to know the moderators and the owners and the people in the group, and I just find there's a better connection. What do you guys think? I feel like there's a lot of noise in the bigger groups.
I would agree. The smaller, more intimate groups, you'll probably feel are much more rewarding and fun to be in. The ones that are just, I mean, big groups may have a lot of activity, but sometimes it's too much activity to follow along and get any useful information out of the group.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, Karen's actually saying she never gets responses with larger groups. That's her experience. Yeah, mine too. I've actually chirping crickets, right? Like where.
The number of posts, like it's a feed, right? So your post is gonna keep going down the page. So
Yeah,
if it's not seen and other people are posting, then it might just get lost.
yeah.
You won't get that response you're looking for, and yeah.
Yeah. Groups are really interesting and a great way, I think, to if you work alone or, you're in the online world, whether it be websites or social media or pay-per-click ads or SEO, it's a great place to connect. I feel we all feel more connected. Because, I mean, or else we'd have to work at a big organization to talk about the things we love. Because I mean, have you guys ever been to a party where you get introduced to people and then you meet somebody that's like a marketer and like all of a sudden you two have so much to talk about, right? No, it doesn't happen to anybody else. Happened
Mm.
to me, but I think it's because I like talking about this stuff. uh, my favorite part of groups is asking questions and seeing people's answers. Like we did a post this week or last week about the books people were reading, and that was really fun, because I got some great new books to read, right? And I love the connecting in groups, so I spend a lot more time. I don't spend time following people's business pages, and yeah, I think that's what we got about groups, right?
Yeah, I would say, like, if you are in groups, to get anything out of it, make sure you're active. Especially if it's a group that you're in where you're potentially trying to get noticed and draw some customers, by being in there and only jumping on, like, when someone needs something or is looking for you, and jumping on and saying, hey, yeah, I can do that for you. Like, provide for the group as well as just poach off the group.
Well, that's the thing. So we've had this group for a number of years, and I will say, thank God that I love this stuff, because if I was expecting to get clients right away, I will tell you that it takes a lot longer. Like, I think being in groups and seeing like moderators and group owners and things like that does help you prove your expertise. So, whether or not you're in a group as a patron or you're one of the moderators or admin, I think groups, that's what's really great about groups. Now, here's something interesting before we go. Lorna has had the exact opposite experience than Karen, which is I get from groups over 5,000, I get some really good responses if I ask a question. Ooh, what groups are you in?
Good responses or a lot of responses?
Those were really good responses. So we should all go try that, right? Couple, because it could be dependent on the group. That's the thing, right? I think groups are like finding your people, right? Like you're gonna find people that just resonate, that are your people, and then there's gonna be some groups where you're like, oh, I do not want to be in there, right? Like, and yeah, so I think that's important to recognize. Not all groups are for everyone. Uh, Interesting, Lorna. We need to know what groups those are. Karen saying, okay, so guys, we're out of time. This was a good conversation. I really appreciate everybody, and you too, Greg. Yeah. Greg, what are we talking about next week?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm not looking.
Oh my God, guys, we have a special guest next week, and hopefully he'll come. He's actually kind of a big deal. So, and he's a Google Ads expert.
Mm.
We are talking about where is it, Greg? Hold on. Oh, I'm opening other windows. That's not good. Oh, I lost you. We're talking about YouTube video ads, I believe. So advertising on YouTube. That's yeah. Learn about YouTube video with Yazar. Now I just opened up. Can you still hear me? I just opened
Yep.
up my video player, so it's loading, and so I can't get out of here, Greg. I can't close this down yet.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. So we're talking about we're learning about YouTube videos
Mhm.
next week.
There we go. I closed it down. So, guys, join us next week. All about YouTube videos. Special guest Yazar. I'm gonna have to actually get him to pronounce his name because it's kind of hard. He is from England, so it's gonna be 7 o'clock at night for him. Yes, the guest is Yazar or Uzar, and he's pretty lovely. I will actually admit that he was a coach of mine for Google Ads. This guy knows his stuff. He's on YouTube, and he's got over 10,000 subscribers. We are super lucky to be having him. I can't wait to learn about YouTube ads. So kind of cool. Thank you for joining us, guys. We will see you next week. I'm gonna play a sound, Greg, before we go.
Oh no.
What do you think? What do you think? How about the party noise?
Wah, wah.
Okay, have a great day, guys. We'll see you next Thursday. We appreciate you guys so much for joining us, and I got to invite people this week, so Facebook's changed some things. Anyway, bye. Don't get captured.
Make good choices.